Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
Just goes to show the offense for the Dallas Stars could not keep up. And when the defense needed to step up, the Lightning's offense just overpowered them.
It makes it almost impossible for their bats to get going or have any confidence in the locker room when you're getting absolutely hosed on the defensive end.
He's like, oh shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It's their defense, man. Mika Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt.
You saw Luka. I'm very intrigued to see how Luka bounces back after his first playoff series.
For next season, there are massive free agents like Giannis. And if Giannis goes to a team like the Heat, like I said before, I expect them to win the championship. 4 teams who could win the AFC in my mind, legitimately. Steelers, Chiefs, Titans, Ravens.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert and Tony Pollard.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life.
So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing to have the Astros win a World Series and then you have to hear them.
Now LeBron's a 4-time champion and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
I think you have 2 established number 1 wide receivers in Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. And I think you have an emerging star in C.D. Lamb.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week for 1/15. We have finished part 3 of the MLB Fixing Baseball, where Austin and I mentioned each of our own ideas that we would add to MLB, so we highly recommend that. Part 4 is delayed because we are waiting for the MLB to make their decisions. Speaking of the MLB making their decisions, Austin, they met since December 1st when they started the lockout. And it was virtual, so they're doing everything virtual these days. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm glad that the meeting was longer than either of us predicted. That's a step in the right direction for everyone involved. But they still haven't come to agreement on much of anything, and nothing's set in stone. And because of that, it looks like the season's going to be relatively postponed. But luckily, on Monday, they plan to Monday being the 24th of January. They plan on meeting in person for the first time in since the lockout started. So that is another step in the right direction because I think it's easier to see online like, oh, they don't really matter. They're just online. They're not actually real. But when you're actually in the building with them, talking about stuff, you can get a real sense for the humanity of the situation, which really I think needs to be involved when it's owners and players.
Also, random thought. Since it was online, they said it was just online, but were cameras on or were cameras off?
I don't know. I don't know who is making sure either or happened, but especially if cameras are off, who knows? Maybe they're just in a text space where they're just texting each
In the
other.
chat
Yeah,
via Zoom.
yeah. I don't know. It's a questionable approach because in something this serious, I don't think you can do it online. And I know there may be some COVID, but you got to get in the same room to actually discuss numbers and what they actually want to do because it's hard to take someone seriously because the players don't really think of the owners as great people and the owners don't think of the players as great people and it only adds to that fire whenever you're online because I mean that's kind of how the world works now. You see someone online that you disagree with and now you hate them forever even though you've never seen the person before.
Yeah,
But
Twitter is not the best thing for online. And like if the camera's off and they're on Zoom, they could be playing on the PlayStation, playing MLB The Show, or maybe they have cameras on and they have PlayStation on in the back, so the owners can see it, just showing like I'm just here so I don't get fined. If we want to quote some NFL players or NFL player,
yeah, uh, it's a step in the right direction, but I'm still worried that we won't get a season done. I'm leaning towards we won't get a season done, but I really hope I'm wrong. I'm kind of betting worse So if it's better, I'm excited and surprised. But I think the way this is going, they haven't really come to enough agreements to even make it seem reasonable for them to come back by anywhere sooner than halfway through the season.
And especially since you said the next meeting in person is February 24th, and February is when you start getting ready for spring training. So
It's January 24th. It's
January.
Monday.
Oh, January. Okay, I thought I heard February, but still, like February is still
Yeah,
like
you're getting ready
that's
for spring training. The end of February is when spring training starts. Normally around the 26th of February, whatever that weekend is. They normally start, and we're only really a month away from that, and that's worrisome when you consider the fact that a lot of players haven't been signed yet.
yeah, and like some of the players we haven't been signed, like Clayton Kershaw has not been signed, Greinke nothing,
Correa,
and Correa, yes, that's a huge one. Um, s- uh, oh my gosh, Chris Bryant.
yeah,
Chris Bryant has not been signed, and so
Freddie
there's a
Freeman,
lot. Freddie Freeman, yep,
Anthony
Freddie
Rizzo.
Freeman, yes, Rizzo. But Yankees haven't really signed anyone. If we're talking like in the league, they've signed some international signings. Rangers though has spent a lot of money, so kind of beat the Yankees there. Yankees got to catch up and spend as much money as the Rangers.
I don't know if we plan on doing that because we don't plan to pay any luxury, but I'm I'm excited for this season if it can get through because I feel like this is going to be a competitive, parity-filled one where there's not really a team that's going to be too dominant because Corey Seager left the Dodgers, Max Scherzer left the Dodgers. Uh, it seems like there are going to be better chances for teams, and teams are getting healthy, which I always love to see. And for those guys who aren't signed, I feel like those are the ones that the Yankees were going for because I've heard like maybe they go for Chris Bryant and then move Gio Urshela to shortstop full time. I've seen a ton of that stuff, and I'm just interested to see what moves every team makes because there's still a lot of hot prospects out there on uh, for teams to pick up that can really increase your chances of winning a World Series.
I feel Corey Seager would have been a great addition to the Yankees, but they just couldn't beat the Rangers. So
No, I think we were going for Correa all along.
really, okay. And like Correa was linked to the Tigers, and then the Tigers signed Baez, which was weird. Like I think
Yeah,
Baez got the same money as around the same money as Simeon, if I'm correct. I think
maybe. I don't really remember. Another guy that's out there that hasn't been signed yet is Trevor Story. So there's a lot of big names out there. I'm definitely missing some. I don't think Nicholas the Castellanos
no,
signed.
Castellanos has not been signed yet, and
Yeah.
the I can't remember his name. We talked about him. I thought the Rangers, the outfielder from another league. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
want
the guy from the KBO.
to. Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say the wrong league.
I think it was the KBO. It could be the Japanese league though. I don't remember.
So
No, it's probably the Japanese league. I'm probably wrong.
I can't remember.
It was definitely the Japanese league. I can't remember. But yeah,
I'm gonna look for it. You can talk about the international signings because some signings did happen.
yeah, the Yankees signed the top international prospect. The Atlanta Braves finally signed some guys because they were banned from signing international players for a while because of the stuff they did under a different general manager. The Angels signed 7 players, all of them being pitchers, which makes it seem like well, all the players they signed to free agency, all of their draft picks, and now all of their international signings have been pitchers. So that's some pretty that's a pretty good amount of self awareness, realizing, hey, uh, we need pitching, and we're only going to go for pitching until that's all uh, settled down. But I won't be surprised necessarily if we see more signings from the Angels and if they are pitchers because they don't really need much else. Did you find it yet?
One more minute. I think I just remember. It's Kurt. No, it's not Kurt Suzuki.
No, no, no.
I'm still looking for it.
Yeah, I could.
You can look it up. But yeah, the Yankees did make some signings. And then speaking of the Angels, to me, that's their biggest weakness is pitching. Because if you have pitching and you have, if not, two best players in MLB. I know
I got
Trout's
it.
number one. Okay, you got it. Who is it?
It's Seiya Suzuki.
Gotcha. Yeah, so Seiya
He
Suzuki.
is from Japan. Yeah.
Okay. So he hasn't been signed, and he may go back to the Japanese league because there's a certain time to which he can be signed before he has to go back. So
It's not well, it's that he doesn't want to miss the season. So he says basically like he doesn't have to return necessarily, like it's not contractual, but he doesn't want to miss playing baseball, and I totally agree with that.
yeah, so and bringing another player from other leagues like Seiya Suzuki, we saw the signing with Otani and what that did to the game. So I think the MLB would miss out if, since they're still arguing and they miss out on a player that Seiya Suzuki is projected to be, I think that hurts the MLB. And the MLB has to be really careful with building up their getting more viewers. So you can't really mess up if you're MLB, which is why we talked about fixing baseball, because we both agree this is a critical point in the future of baseball and if it gets more viewers or loses viewers.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So speaking of Shohei Otani and Mike Trout, it's interesting just to see the Angels do it with the pitchers because they have Syndergaard, and if Syndergaard does what he did a few years ago, then that would be really incredible because then hopefully you can get the best player in baseball, Mike Trout, and then Shohei Otani into the playoffs.
Yeah, seeing anyone on the Angels in the playoffs, they have so many star players. Anthony Rendon, uh, Raisel Iglesias, who is a pitcher, but he's one of the best closers in the league. Uh, Seeing a lot of those star players in the biggest games will definitely be good for the league, especially because the Dodgers have really ruled that city for some time now.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see. Hopefully, we get more to talk about with. Maybe they get ahead and then they can start the season on time, but I agree with you. I don't think they're going to start the season on time because you might shorten spring training and then that may lead to injuries, which just won't be good. So hopefully they fix it. They get on time, but I doubt it. And I like setting my expectations low as well because then you can't get disappointed. You can only everything can exceed your expectations and then you're happy. So
Yeah, but I also don't think it's just pessimism. I honestly think like it's probably the most likely thing to happen. I don't
it's
feel like I'm just
realistic.
yeah. It's not like we're going out of nowhere to just say, oh, it's like saying, oh, the NHL won't finish their season. Well, what do you mean? They there's like a 99.9% chance they finish their season.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've seen how hard, how like there's a past with the owners and the players just last year before COVID. They couldn't agree to a season, and Manfred just had to order them. All right, we're doing a 60-game season. Get here, you're here. Get on time here. So that kind of was a bad sign of okay, we're gonna have a lockout.
Yeah, and both sides have not had a lot of respect for one another for some time now, and I do think that is a big part of what hinders the league compared to others. Because I honestly feel like uh, in some leagues there is a lot more respect between owners and players, but I mean it's just on a owner to owner basis, player to player basis. Like I feel like if we're gonna go to the Cowboys, I feel like a lot of the players do like Jerry Jones. Like I don't think Jerry Jones is necessarily
Yes,
a bad guy for
for
the
with the
players.
players, for
With
the
the players, that's my
fans,
point.
it's not good. Yeah.
But yeah, but with the players, I feel like it's the same thing with Mark Cuban. I feel like a lot of the guys on the Mavs like Mark Cuban just because he tries to be in the locker room a lot. He likes to be involved, but you don't really see that by MLB owners all that much. Uh, unless it was George Steinbrenner with the Yankees, who was always celebrating in the locker room with the players after they won a big game. We haven't really seen anything like that in a very long time.
I feel MLB owners kind of see it as an investment. Like, okay, I have this team, I'm going to make profit and I can sell them future for, and I get 10 times more money and they don't really have to do anything. If they just hire the right person, they can get money. They can earn a ton of money because it's very profitable for now. But if they don't fix it, then they may lose money. So
Yeah, they see the players as a commodity rather than a player, than someone who is the reason. Like, you got to keep them relatively happy for them to perform well. Players who are normally mad don't always play their best unless you have like a Jordan-esque type of player. It's not always that type of thing that happens. So yeah, I've been struggling with this because I want the MLB season to happen. It's one of my favorite sports. Obviously, all sports on here I love, but MLB I have a special connection to, especially because I have a lot of family members that are also fans of the league. So I think that's my only connection really, besides the NFL, to either my grandparents or the NFL with my parents. So it's tough not being able to see it because, again, this is a league I really grew up on, and I will be mad if there isn't a season, but it's what I expect at this point.
yeah, I want to see the Rangers because of like what they did, and I might be able to go to opening day when Joey Gallo returns to the Ranger Stadium. So I want to be there for that. But if the season doesn't start on time, I'll miss it, and then I don't know how many games I'm going to be able to watch. Because I just want to see Marcus Semien and Corey Seager on the Rangers and if they sign other players and see what it's like, because they've kind of been rebuilding, so hasn't been the best baseball, and now you just signed some of the biggest names that were on the market. So I'm interested to see that, and I'm interested to also talk baseball. So
Yeah, it's always fun.
yes, and baseball is the last time I won one of our predictions videos, so I'd like to keep on that track. So
Yep.
that concludes our episode. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.